So right now, I'm deciding to express what's killing me and what's lighting me up at the same time. And instead of doing the actual work that I have to do on the table, the work that puts food on the table, I got a stack full of client videos that I need to shoot that are owed to them. They're due very soon. And instead of being on camera for them, I'm on camera filming this, because in the last 6 weeks, I've built something like 8 apps / sites. None of them are my day job. Some of them might be my day job eventually, but most of them won't. So there's this question that I've been turning over in my head, and I just want to try to answer it in this video. So if you're feeling some way or something similar in your own brain, you can tell me if I'm right. So the question is this a curse, or is this exactly what I was built for? And to answer it, I gotta go back about 6 months. So I had a website. Well, I have a website. People have websites. Honestly, I had it because somebody eventually had told me that I should have a website, right? And people have websites. So I paid a company to build a website, and then I paid them a retainer to do the SEO, $400 a month to manage it. Nice people. The website was garbage. Honestly, they were dicks, but I'd been complaining about it for almost a year, paying every single month, doing nothing about it. And then one day I was like, all right, I think Claude can probably help me here. And this was back on the Claude chat version. I hadn't crossed the bridge of Claude Code yet. So 10 minutes later, I deployed it. I uploaded the file to the site that deployed the site. And I'm not exaggerating for this video, 10 minutes. The first version was decent. It was better than what this company had spent weeks on. So I iterated it a few times. And then within an hour, I had a website that beat what I had been paying $400 a month for. Granted, that was just the SEO portion, which also didn't work. Nothing special, but somehow literally what I had just built with Claude was light years better than what I had paid out the ass for, really, right? And at this point, something just cracked in my brain because I suddenly understood that I had been paying other people to do badly something that I could just hang out with Claude and do myself. So I asked Claude, I said, Claude, knowing what you know about me, my business, and what I do, and thinking about how we just rebuilt my site, it seemed so easy. What else could we build together? And then Claude said, well, you should build a teleprompter app. And I'll tell you why, Todd. It's because the ones out there, they all suck. And I was leaning in, and that just hit really different because I've been reading teleprompters for a living for years now. I've used many, many apps on the market, and I knew exactly how bad they were, because they are. I just been living with it because, there's not that many options, because what was I going to do, build my own teleprompter app? Yes, that's exactly right. So 6 weeks ago, I started using Claude Code, and the first thing I built was the teleprompter by Claude's suggestion. The first feature I asked for was just a workflow shortcut, because the first iteration spun up, and I was just like, okay, this is... Ooh. Because here's the thing about being a spokesperson for a living. I email the script to myself from my computer onto my phone. I like the small teleprompter the best. I've tried the bigger ones. So I take my email, I paste it into the teleprompter app, make sure it's formatted right, put it onto the teleprompter rig, and then we're good, we're set up. That move alone, every shoot, over time, that's a lot of minutes. I mean, if it's 30 to 60 seconds over thousands of videos over years, that's a part-time job. I just accepted that as a part of my job. So I told Claude, I was like, hey, I want to drop a document somewhere on my computer on the app, and then I want it to show up on the teleprompter. No copying, no pasting, it's just gonna be there, right? And I figured it would say something like, yeah, in your dreams, pal, that's impossible. But it didn't say that. It just built it pretty much immediately. And then the first time, it worked. And then I had this moment of, oh no. Because if it can do that, then literally anything is possible. And once your brain figures out that pretty much everything is possible on what you can build, you start to act on every creative impulse, building everything that comes to mind. Now, here's the thing that I expected to feel within this new exciting pursuit. I expected that the dopamine would come from like finishing a project, shipping the project, watching people use it, the satisfaction of a finished thing out in the world. But that's not what happened. The dopamine comes from the moment of summoning. You know, when something that I don't feel existed 5 minutes ago is suddenly real, and I'm looking at it and it's working exactly how I envisioned it and it's on my screen, that is the hit. I mean, once your brain figures out that it can get that hit on demand, finishing becomes optional at that point, and the reward, it's already happening incrementally throughout the process. So why would I grind through the boring last 20% of a project when I could just, I don't know, start a new one, feel that same thing again, right? And that's what's been happening to me, because new ideas pop in and I cannot resist the urge. So for 6 weeks straight, which that's kind of how you end up with a list like this. All right, so most of these you're never going to hear about again. They're not really full-on projects. They're just kind of closer to receipts. This is just evidence that my brain has been going nuts. It's been on fire for the past 6 weeks. So here's one. It's called Words Typing. This is wordstyping.com. It is a website that I built that animates words being typed on an old school green text terminal screen with sound effects to match, right? So you can export the animation as a video. I actually just made this yesterday. It took me like an hour. That's it though. It animates and you can export a video of words typing. That's it. That's the whole thing. It's nothing else. I like seeing words typing. I always wanted there to be this tool that did this. And one day there wasn't, to my knowledge, in the iteration that I had thought of. And then the next day there was, because I made it. And I won't ever like sell it or monetize it. I have no plan for it. And honestly, I'm just laughing at myself a bit even saying this part out loud, because the name of my website here is wordstyping.com. And the answer to the question, what does it do, is, oh, you can watch words being typed. And I love it, and I'm proud of it. And I cannot defend a single thing about why it exists. There's also denvertalent.org. I'm an actor. I love the creative community here. I spent a few hours one night building what I wanted to be the central hub for casting calls and creative jobs in Denver. The site's up, actually. The branding, I think it looks cool. It's also just a shell right now. Dummy jobs, no features, not actually usable yet, but I'm gonna get back to it. Maybe I won't. There's also a line memorization app that is forthcoming. I started it this week because somebody in my acting class was like, hey, a really good app for memorizing lines should exist. I'm in the research phase now. I'll probably finish it. I'll probably never market it. There's also an internal tool that I use to track what I owe contractors every week that I created. It works great for us, and I can't show it to you or tell you what it is, although I wish I could because the name is awesome, but anybody could make an account and poke around in it. There's nothing that sensitive in there, but I just don't want strangers in our system, so that's staying in-house. Oh, there's an AI system that I built to create YouTube content that works really well, which is actually what I'm using right now to write this video. That's a different conversation for a different day, though. So, 5 projects, rapid fire succession that you just heard, and those are just ones that don't even count, right? So here's where it gets interesting. A few weeks ago, my business partner, we were trying to share a calendar in Calendly and like sync things up. We were working on our availabilities, setting those, which was way more complicated than it should have been too. And we were on the phone for like 45 minutes trying to figure this out and make Calendly work. This is the most basic software in the world. This is a tool. Its entire job is to let people pick a time on a screen. I was paying $16 a month for the privilege to use this software. And then I guess at some point I sprang for the year-long discount. And then literally 2 days ago when I'm working on this new tool, I saw that it just renewed for another year. Thanks, Calendly. $120 for a calendar. So I kind of lost it at that point, you know, not at my partner, but just at the entire SaaS industry, the whole model, the idea that I'm supposed to pay every month for the rest of my life for a piece of software whose total job is to let somebody pick Tuesday at 2 p.m. So I started building. The product is called the Booking Club, and the branding looks kind of like a country club. It's kind of like exclusive looking, right? I love the colors, I love the aesthetic, and the whole point is kind of the opposite. You pay $50 once, you're in forever, no subscriptions. The marketing that we're using is, hey, we're not a SaaS hole. If you're addicted to subscriptions, fine. You can pay $5 a month. But the second you've hit $50 a month in total that you've paid us, we got to cut you off. We're not going to let you keep paying us because that's not how we work. I love this project. I just love it because I don't actually care about scheduling software. I just care about making something boring feel kind of interesting, you know? Everyone in this category has zero brand. All the competitors, they're all just utilities that are somehow tolerated, and I can build something just as functional as Calendly, and I can charge for it once instead of forever, and I can wrap it in a brand that's actually fun to look at, in my opinion. In best case, we're gonna launch this in 2 weeks. Worst case, I'll lose interest in 10 days and I'll never look at it again. But again, honestly, worst case, I'll lose interest in the next 10 days and I'll never look at it again. But I don't think that's gonna happen with this one. And honestly, I don't think it's gonna happen with the two others that I'm about to tell you about either. But look, I've been alive in this brain long enough to know that what I'm certain about today might be gone by next Tuesday, but we'll see. So this one I'm pretty sure isn't going anywhere. This is called Tour Guide FM. It's an audio tour app. About 12 years ago, I took some audio tours when I was traveling a lot, and they were all bad, every single one of them. The audio was flat. The writing was generic. The production sounded like somebody hit record on a phone in a hallway. And I kept thinking as I'm listening to this audio, audio is my first love as a creative, and I know how to do this. And I was thinking, why does this whole category sound terrible? You know, for 12 years, that thought has sat in the back of my head and I never did anything with it. And the longer I sat with it, the more I noticed it wasn't just the audio. The apps that these tours live in are also garbage. They're slow, they're cluttered, they're complicated. They got a million ads on some of them, and people put up with it because some other people built some shit that was just really bad, man. I don't know. So a few weeks ago, I started building it, and the first iteration had all the things, and I was like, wow, this is going to be possible. And now I've already paid 2 voiceover artists way too much money to record narrations for the first 2 tours. You know, I was originally going to record everything myself because I have a voiceover studio, but then I just realized that recording hours of polished tour narration was pretty tedious in a way that would just kill the project dead on arrival, right? So I hired it out, and that money's gone, whether this works out or not. But I also just love the process of casting talent and, you know, providing cool creative jobs for people. This will probably never make money, and I'm still gonna launch it. You know, I've gone back and forth in my head about whether this is a good business decision or whether I'm just setting fire to thousands of dollars to chase something that's been in my head for, I genuinely don't know which it is. And what I do know, though, is that there's a version of this product that exists in my head, and I haven't seen it exist out in the world yet. And that is enough. If it makes money, great. If it doesn't, well, I guess I made a thing that I wanted to make. And that's what creative work is for. Sometimes the prize is just the artifact, right? Okay, then there's this teleprompter. I already told you about it. It's the one that started all of this, right? It's a real product now. It's $6.99 a month for like the big version that has AI implemented because, you know, there's a server and back-end costs for API and, you know, it's a small business. I'm still charging less than the other bullshit app that don't even have AI API on the back end. And also the free version is really solid as well. So that's what's different about this one is that it's, and you know, the thing that's most different about this one is that I'm its most demanding user. Every shoot, I find a little tiny thing that I want to change or iterate or that I feel like I need it to be. So yesterday it's one thing, today it's another thing. So I just prompt Claude and I say, hey, we need to make this possible. And then it ships in 90 seconds and then I pull it back up, I get back to work, I keep working on camera with that new feature already live. It's so great. And that's not a metaphor, that's just literally how my workflow is now. I'm just using it more than I'm actually building it, right? So the improvements happen kind of as a side effect of using it, right? So look, of all the things on this list, it's the only one that's kind of currently acting like a real business. I guess I just need to promote it. Like you could buy it right now. It's pretty much ready, I think. Yeah, I use it every day. I mean, look at these for a second. Tour Guide FM, the Booking Club, the Teleprompter, all the other stuff. If you wanted to give me a generic ADHD content explanation, you would say something like, yeah, I just chase whatever's shiny and my brain wants stimulation and it grabs whatever's in front of it. That'd be wrong. You know, Tour Guide FM is a pure creative thing. I don't care if it makes money. I just care if it's what I've been imagining over the years. And if it's the version of audio tours that I've always hoped existed. The Booking Club is the opposite. I don't care if it's beautiful in a creative sense. I just care that it's a middle finger to a software industry that's been overcharging me for years. And I care that the brand makes me laugh. The Teleprompter is the rare one here where kind of both of those things are true at the same time. I just love how it works. I love that it solves a problem that I have every day. And that's why it's really the only one of these things that currently is behaving somewhat like a business. So, you know, I used to think I had a focus problem and perhaps I don't. Perhaps I just have like a regulation problem. My brain needs to swing between these two things, and staying at one end for too long is kind of what breaks me, you know? 7 years of being only one kind of creator, I guess it was always going to break. So I've been making a full-time living as a video creator for 7 years, on-camera talent for seven years, and I haven't applied for any jobs in 7 years. This is the career that I built. It's real, it works, and lately I've kind of been ignoring it, and not in a way that's actually breaking anything. I'll finish the work. I always finish the work. I should be delivering projects 24 to 48 hours before the deadline hits. I'm capable of that. Lately it's been, you know, I'll send the delivery 6 hours before the deadline. Acceptable, but, you know, I could do better. You know, the dream I fought for has started feeling like obligation that I have to escape from by building these new dreams, right? I genuinely don't know what to do with that. I tried Adderall once. I got up to 15 milligrams a day, and then I'd see myself on camera and I'd see someone who was just like leaving. So I stopped. 4 days were real rough. And nowadays I'm just doing this brain without medication. I'm not making a recommendation here. I'm just telling you what's working for me right now in this part of my life. Quick thing before I land this. You know, some of you might be curious to look at what I'm actually talking about. Maybe not. Links are in the description, but look, that's all that it is. I'm not pitching you. I'm not running some sort of funnel through this video. These things aren't quite ready for actual marketing, and when they are, they'll go through their actual proper marketing channels, but that's not what we're doing here. Not what this is. So you probably want to see words typing though. I mean, you know, it's pretty good. Look, here's where I am. I've built 8 things in 6 weeks. 3 of them might actually be real. The rest are just evidence of something that I'm still trying to understand. So I just don't know if this brain is a curse or if this is actually what I was built for. Genuinely, I just don't know where I land on those two thoughts and concepts right now. But what I do know is I'm not going to stop building. I couldn't do that if I tried. So the career I built 7 years ago is still my job. The things that I'm building right now might be my next job, or they might just be the way my brain stays alive. I just don't know yet. So I'm just going to keep figuring it out here. You know, if you got this brain too, then you know what I mean.